to Catholic Mom and Daughter. I'm Jennifer the mom, and I'm starting this out today. Later on in the video, you will hear from Kate, who is the Catholic daughter. So today we're talking about how to bounce back when you're having a bad homeschool day. Everybody has bad homeschool days. It's just part of life. Ups and downs like everything else. But I do have a list of coping strategies that I've developed over the years. I've been homeschooling for about 15 years now. So I can recognize sometimes when a bad day is coming on, and I have different what I call takes. I have 7 different takes when we're having a bad homeschool day. Now I do want to say that there are 2 types of bad homeschool days. Sometimes you can see it coming. You've got a busy schedule, or someone has been sick, or you have a change in plans, and it's going to be hard for your kids and it's going to be a rough day. But then there's the other type of bad homeschool day, which you don't see coming. They just come out of the blue, it seems, and everyone in the house is in a bad mood and nobody knows why and nothing is working. So I find those are the hardest homeschool days to deal with, because they just hit you out of the blue and you're like, oh, I had no idea that moving your shoes to a different shelf would start this avalanche of events that have derailed our day. So anyway, we're going to look at both of those situations, and I have my 7 takes that I hope will be helpful for you. All right, let's start with take number 1, which is what I call take it in stride. A long time ago, a very wise homeschooling mother told me, you're gonna have bad days, but don't worry, even NASA has glitches. And I've always thought of that through the years. Yeah, even if you plan and organize and you have brilliant minds at work for you, sometimes things still go wrong and it's out of our control. So take it in stride. If you have a bad day or a bad week, tomorrow will be better, next week will be better, and really no one's going to hold it against you. No one's going to be judging you and saying, oh yeah, remember back in 2020 you had that really awful month when nobody did math. No one is going to remember. We're looking at the big picture here. Homeschooling is a journey over a period of time. It's not one day, 1 hour, or even, the worst 10 minutes. All right, take number 2 is to take a look. If you're having a bad homeschool day or a bad homeschool week, or there's just a certain subject that is just not working out, take a look at your choices. Are they realistic? What are your expectations? Are you asking your kid to do too much? Even though you're excited about all the supplemental videos that come with the science program, do you really want your child to have to sit there and watch 3 extra videos a day just because they're really cool on top of all the other schoolwork? So take a look at that. Take a look at your schedule. Are you asking for the paper to be due on the same day that there's soccer practice and co-op? Less is always more. Maybe you need to pare it down. Maybe not forever, but maybe just for a while. So really stop and take a look and put yourself in your child's shoes. If I had A, B, and C going on, could I also, when I was 14 or 10 or however, could I also manage to do X, Y, and Z at the same time? My 3rd take that I highly recommend is to take a break. It's not wrong sometimes to take a day off, or to take a morning off, or to take off certain subjects just to get you through a rough patch. When I was in veterinary school, one of my classmates lived close by the vet school, and so sometimes he would drive himself to school and sometimes he would walk. Well, one day he got up in the morning and was getting ready for school, and he discovered that his car had been stolen. It was not in the driveway where he had left it the night before. So of course this was very traumatic for him. He called the police. Everyone in our class was up in arms. Oh, Lloyd's car got stolen. This is terrible. How could this happen? And it turns out that he was just so stressed and so tired that he had left his car in a corner of the vet school parking lot where he doesn't usually park, and he had walked home. He was so tired with all the tests and schoolwork that he had just forgotten he was in a state of confusion due to fatigue. And so from that day on, though, he changed his ways, and he said whenever he felt himself getting sleep deprived, tired, he would take what he called his mental health day. As much as possible, he would give himself that time that he needed to get some sleep and just get his brain working again. So taking a break is a great idea. Now, I have found in 15 years of homeschooling that there are 2 times that you need to take a break. The first time is when something unexpected happens that just throws your day into chaos. Maybe the washer blows up, or maybe there's an unexpected illness. Someone in the house is sick, and even though the rest of them aren't sick, it can be really hard to get everyone else to settle down and do work. And it's really no one's fault, it just happens. Sometimes also, and you know when this happens, you see a child who is getting really frustrated. This child is trying to do long division, just not getting it right now, or trying to write a paper and is just hit a dead end and is so frustrated. That is also a time to take a break. If you've gotten to the point of tears, nobody learns well when he or she is crying. Now, I've been homeschooling for a long time, and sometimes I even miss the boat on this. Last year, my son broke his leg in a skateboarding accident. The next day, he's lying in bed, in pain, and I come in with his physics book, and I say, oh, because you're just lying here in bed, I'm sure you would be able to do a little bit of reading for school. And he just looked at me as if to say, have you completely lost your mind? Does the show always have to go on? A broken leg isn't enough for a day off school? And so then I had to take a step back and say, what have I become? What's happened to me? Of course, we need to take a break. I need to step back from being so focused on getting things done that I make everybody miserable. On the other hand, if you have kids who are being naughty, they're just in a mood and they just don't want to do the work, those moments also. That is also a time to take a break. But so as not to reward bad behavior, what we developed in our house was a system where if I knew that the day was going south because of bad attitudes, I would get the calendar off the wall in our schoolroom and I would say, oh, look here. It says that the last day of school for our year is June 1st. Well, we're taking the rest of the day off, and now the end of school is June 2nd. So we're gonna make this bad day later. So it only took doing that one time to where I would just have to say, guess I better get the calendar out. We're calling this day, and attitudes would magically improve. My fourth take when you're having a bad homeschool day is to stop and take the matter up with your kids. So take number 4, take it to your kids. Sometimes you just run up against a subject or a day that's really bad and it repeats over time. Maybe it's your grammar program or maybe it's the math program. That is a good time to take a break and ask yourself, did I pick this math program because it's my dream, or did I pick it because it's a good fit for my kid? Now, I spend a lot of time researching things, and I always look at reviews, and sometimes I get really excited about, oh, we're going to do this geography program. Everyone loves it. It's going to be great. And then it turns out to be a big fat flop at my house because it was my dream. My kids really aren't that interested in geography, or they just want basic grammar. They don't want it to have to be tied into all the things about the Catholic religion. They just want grammar. Again, a long time ago, I had a homeschool mom tell me that she gives herself grace, that it's okay to make a mistake. Don't worry about the money that you've invested in a program because you tried it and that was the right thing to do. You thought it would work and you gave it your best shot. If you can't adapt it somehow, just abandon it and move on. Sell it, give it away. Someone else can use it, but it's just not for you. So take it to your kids, get their feedback, and if you need to make changes, make them. My fifth take to help out a bad homeschool day is to take it to prayer. Now that sounds too simple almost, but sometimes we forget in the moment, to pray. In the Catholic Church, we're so lucky that we have the communion of saints in heaven who are praying for us, and all we have to do is ask for their intercession. So that led me to buy this book called Saintly Support, as a prayer for every problem. If you have a problem with someone being falsely accused, or a problem with someone being uncharitable, or with bad weather, or babies that are unhappy, there is a patron saint of that, and it's good during your day to stop and say a prayer. Now, any saint book will work. I've also used the saint's name generator that we talked about in a different video. You can go online and you can just ask for help, say a prayer, and punch the button and a saint's name will pop up. So don't forget about calling in heavenly help when you're having a bad day. My sixth take when you're having a bad homeschool day is taking it to the Queen. Taking it to the Queen, the Blessed Mother. This goes along with praying, asking the saints to pray for us. Believe me, no one wants to help you and your children more than the Blessed Mother. And I always think of the story of Juan Diego when he went up the hill. If you don't know the story of Our Lady of Guadalupe, the Blessed Mother appeared to Juan, and as proof that she had appeared, the bishop said, bring me some evidence that the Blessed Mother really did appear to you. So he climbed a hill in midwinter and found beautiful roses blooming there. So he gathered up all the roses and put them in his poncho. He made a little pocket with his poncho and put the roses in there. And the Blessed Mother was watching him, and she came over and she said, oh, Juan, this is a mess. Let me fix this. And she literally arranged all the roses one by one in his tilma. So you know that if she is taking that much, care and love to help out Juan and to fix things, how much more is she willing to come to our assistance? And she has, the ear of Jesus. So definitely, if you need extra super duper help, call on the Queen. Take it to the Queen. She will never let you down. My seventh and last take for redeeming a bad homeschool day is to take it in perspective. Homeschooling is a journey. It's a marathon. It's not a sprint. Over days, weeks, and months, your kids will be learning. So you can't be perfect. You can't always pick the right curriculum the first time. Put that in perspective. You can't always be the perfect teacher. You're going to have bad days as well as the kids. Put that in perspective. Also put into perspective the idea that you can't have a perfectly clean house and homeschool your kids at the same time. It is very, very difficult. You have more kids in the house, you have more books, more papers, more everything, and it's just hard. You're only one person. You're one person doing your best, and God sees you and He is pleased with your effort. So sometimes, just take a deep breath, put it in perspective. I'm not ruining my kids. They are learning. It's going to be okay. Go to bed early, like Thomas Aquinas said, have that glass of wine, take that hot bath, get a good night's sleep, and tomorrow begin again. So now Kate is going to talk to you a little bit about what causes her to have a bad homeschool day and what she does to remedy that on her own. I wanted Kate to share her perspective as a teenager. What are some of the things that can make or break her day? And that, I like to talk to my kids about that because that helps me keep it all in perspective.
All right, so now that you kind of heard things from the position of a teacher, I want to come in and share with you guys 9 things that kind of flip my day in the wrong direction as a student and how I cope with those things. All right, so the first thing that really throws my day off is appointments / being really busy. And if I look down, I have some notes that I have on my lap. Anyway, so appointments / really busy days are one of the top things that just puts me in a bad mood. I'm losing time that I could be spending on my schoolwork and getting everything done, and it really frustrates me. So back in middle school, this was especially a problem when I would have orthodontist appointments, and those things were never like this day of the week, this time. I could never schedule them in and work around them because they were always changing. And it's not so bad now, but it definitely does still come up. So one of the things that really helps me cope with this is knowing that I have these appointments. It's just that mental knowledge, that being mentally prepared for maybe a little bit more of a tighter, more stressful, school day really helps me to stay calm and just keep going through it. And then also working ahead has been helpful. Just sitting down and doing some of that particular day's schoolwork in advance really can help bring back the workload and really can help the day go a lot better. So number 2 is frustrating and confusing work. I think we can all relate to this. It's really hard to stay calm when you just don't understand what you're doing. This one gets me all the time, especially in math and chemistry and really generally complex subjects. So what I like to do with these things is, first and foremost, is asking for help. It's kind of like the obvious solution for this, but it is really, really important. Why would you drive yourself to the absolute point of mental breakdown if you could just go and ask your teacher or someone for help? So that is like my first go-to thing when it comes to hard and confusing work. And then also, if it's just really eating at me, I just like to put it away and not look at it for a while. Maybe that's taking a break from school in general and just going outside or reading or something, or maybe it's moving on to a different subject or something else that I have to do. But those two things really help me when I'm struggling with a particular subject. Okay, so number 3 is one that I think is a little bit specific, but I have a feeling I can't be the only one who gets frustrated by this. But that is when I have the feeling that I'm not getting my work done fast enough. So for me, when I have like a checklist of school books and to read and things to do, I very much cannot enjoy doing other things while having that work hanging over me. I like to get things done as quickly and efficiently as possible. So if I have something that's taking a lot of time and I feel like I'm going too slow, it really drives me crazy and it can completely turn my day upside down and I will just be in a bad mood. So the thing with this one and with coping with it is that it's a little bit more of a mental thing than it is, having a busy day or something like that. You really have to be, guide yourself into a right, state of mind to push past that feeling that you're going too slowly. So that's something I always have to keep reminding myself when I'm struggling like that I just have to keep going and I will get to the end eventually. So, and then if that isn't really working, just like the last one, I will sometimes put that work aside and go on to other work that I know I can get done, work that is shorter and that's not going to be stretched out for an undisclosed amount of time. So that's what I usually do. Again, I don't know how many people actually find this a struggle, but I definitely do. And like I said in the beginning, I really don't think I'm the only one. So number 4 is when you're dealing with annoying people. People are talking while you're trying to read, they're asking you a bunch of questions, they're bothering you. It's a very difficult situation. It's so hard to stay in control of yourself, and it can put you in a bad mood for the rest of the day or at least for a little while. So the first thing that I like to do with this is to ask people to stop whatever they're doing, whether that's to pause their conversation while I'm trying to read or to just leave me alone. It doesn't matter. Probably the best approach to this one is to ask them to stop. But if that doesn't work, the thing I like to do is, again, to just leave and, separate myself from these people, to try doing my work in a different room where I don't have to listen to them or they can't come in and bother me. So I would start with asking, but if it doesn't work, just leave. Alright, so number 5 is kind of similar to number 1, but that's coming home from co-op and having a lot of work left to do. So this would get me a lot last year. I would come home at like noon from co-op and I would still have all of this work left to do, which I didn't want to do any of. So keeping myself calm and from getting super stressed out about that was a hard job. But I would often spread that work out over the weekend. It might be, 2-3 tasks that I would say, you're gonna do this on between Saturday and Sunday, as long as it's done by Monday. I don't care when you do it. So I would spread that work out on the weekends, so it wasn't as much of a workload on, for me, was Friday afternoon. Or you could also work ahead again, spread some of that work out during the week, so the workload on Friday or whatever day you have co-op or something like that is less than it would actually be. Alright, number 6 is lack of motivation. We can probably all relate to those days where we just don't feel like doing anything. Definitely have those days where I don't want to do any of my work. I just kind of want to be lazy all day and not get out of bed. But what I do to get myself through those times is I just keep pushing. I keep telling myself to do it, and really for me, it's all about my mindset. Also, if you're feeling not too motivated, kind of reward yourself a little bit. Maybe if I do X, Y, and Z, I can take a little break and read or watch a video or something like that. So you can set up a reward system with yourself of just little things that can help you get through that lack of motivation, and I think that could also work really well. Right, so number 7 is feeling frustrated when people are getting their work done faster than you are. This one has definitely driven me crazy multiple times. I can't stand it, basically, when people are getting their work done faster than I am, or they're catching on to something more than I am. And it's really just like not a big deal, but for some reason I always end up making it into one. It's kind of weird. But basically what I like to do with this one is once again to leave and go away where I don't have to hear about it or see it or anything like that. Or you can again play with your mindset and try telling yourself that it's okay, you can do things at your own pace. It's great that they're getting this or they're getting it done, but you will also get that done eventually. All right, number 8 is another one that's kind of specific, but that is having to do labs and experiments in science. For some reason, I just get so frustrated with these things. They can take so long, and that drives me crazy. I don't know what it is. I always hate it when I have to do an experiment. So one of the things that you can do if you're struggling with this, if it's kind of annoying you that you have to do it, is to put it off to a specific time of day. So that could be tackling this thing first thing in the morning, first thing when you're starting out, and just getting it done and moving on. Or you can also put it back to the end of the day when everything else is done and you just have to get through that. Similarly, you could also put experiments off till Friday, till the end of the week, where they're going to be a little bit less stressful. You might not have as many things to do. So that's some of my recommendations for dealing with experiments or labs. All right, so the last thing I want to talk about, number 9, is what I do when I'm having a really just stressful and overwhelming day. I definitely have these, especially in high school, and some of them are just kind of for no reason. And I don't know why some days are worse than others. But when I'm doing this, I like to just keep going. That way I'm able to tell myself that I am being productive, I am getting my work done, and that it will all end eventually. It's not going to go on forever. I will also take breaks from my work, potentially more than I normally would if I'm having a bad day. Being overwhelmed is really stressful, so it is good to step away from whatever is making you crazy. And then even having a system of routine breaks that you're putting in there that you are keeping to every day can also help balance that out, because instead of taking a bunch of breaks on a really hard day and feeling like you're not getting things done, it's really natural to have those breaks and you feel like this is how your school day is supposed to be going, which can really help when you're all stressed out. Or just completely put the work off till another random time of the day. I've definitely done that. I had times where I put listening to classes off until 9 o'clock at night because I was having a bad day. So you can shuffle your schoolwork all around to help lessen the load and to help you de-stress a little bit. And there's also, there's lots of different things you can do when you're having a bad day. Everyone's different, but those are just some of the things that I like to do.
So thanks for joining us today. I hope this video has been helpful. We're so glad that you joined us, and we'll see you next time on Catholic Mom and Daughter. Bye.